Hello world, asset management visionaries, Maura here, and I have a super guest. Stay with me.
Hey, how are you? I'm Kevin Price.
Hello world, Maura here, asset management visionaries. I have a guest of honor today, Kevin Price, which I have met him since the beginning here in my career, 11 years already. That goes so fast.
It happens.
It does happen. Kevin, tell the world who you are.
So my name's Kevin Price. I'm out of Greenville, South Carolina, and I've been working with enterprise asset management, software solutions, implementation, deployment, you name it, for about 27 years. And I'm currently with a company by the name of IFS, and I'm the global head of enterprise asset management practice there.
And yes, by what you're saying, the 27 years, there is a quality over quantity, but in your case, it's 27 years of expertise, knowledge. I know very closely your work, and one of my favorite people in the industry, let me tell you. Tell us a little bit about your perspective. Simply, in a simple word, what is asset management?
So asset management is to be able to get the performance that you expect out of your assets and be able to expect the unexpected. That's difficult to say, it's difficult to do, but when you start to think about when assets fail, if you're doing asset management correctly and you're doing reliability practices correctly, you really should know when it's going to fail. And you know what the impact's going to be when it fails. And you know what it's going to take to get it back online. And you know what that cost is going to be. These are all the unexpected things that we see today because the practice of reliability, the practice of asset management, the practice of sustainability simply aren't where they should be. But that's the opportunity, is we can be able to develop platform tools, we can work with partners like yourselves, and be able to bring a discipline out, the vernacular, just getting people talking about reliability so that ultimately we can get to a world that's safer, that's cleaner, that's a lot more efficient than we have today.
And going to that efficiency, let's dive into sustainability. I know
Sure.
You're big in sustainability. You're evangelizing not only asset management, not only reliability, but tell us about sustainability. What do you see out there in the industry?
So in the industry, we see a lot of different types of solutions that tend to be niche. And what I mean by that, they're going after certain things. They're going after maybe fuel understanding, fuel consumption, fuel reduction. Maybe they're going after exhaust and emissions. Maybe they're going after other elements. And while those are important, and those are critically important, especially to maintain reliability of our environment itself, it's really has to get back to the asset management principles. It has to get back to be able to how you maintain those assets. Because if you look at fugitive emissions, it's exhaust that's coming out, or it's coming out stronger than it should. Why? Because maybe you're not operating correctly, or maybe you're not maintaining it correctly, or maybe you're not using the right tools. If it's consuming too much fuel or too much energy, why? Is it because it's not running correctly? Maybe a different type of filter needs to be put in. Maybe a different type of condition needs to be brought in. Maybe there's too much humidity brought in. They're very interrelated, and they need to be brought together into a single solution. And then when you think about even further back into that pipeline, you think about, well, the operation is important, the maintenance is important, but also the materials that go into it, and also the education of the operators need to go into consideration. The plans for the future go in. So we view that world as a single solution. The problem is the niche providers work, and the market has those niche providers because it's easy. It's always easy to put a Band-Aid on to be able to fix a fix. But when you think about an entire solution, you need all those components. Problem is, you have to implement them all at once, right? So at IFS, we do something called the composable enterprise. And the composable enterprise here allows us to be able to compose pieces of those solutions as you need them, as your business demands them, as they start to go through, so that you can develop success upon success and meet your milestones the way you need to.
And you were talking about education, which is so essential. Tell us about your take about people and asset management.
So education, you would think is a lot more broadly adopted than it really is. There's a lot of folks that are out there that are still doing a lot of reactive work. They think they're doing some preventative work. In some cases they are, and in some cases they're not. What we find is some of the compliance-ridden environments are heavily monitored governmental reviews. Those are typically done to the extent in the letter of the law. Thank God that they are. But they're not taken to that next level in many cases. And in some examples where they're not monitored that way, they just simply don't monitor them at all. So there's an education gap that's there. Not necessarily on just equipment or pumps or whatever, but the practice of what asset management is asset management work orders? No, but yes. Is asset management preventive maintenance? No, but yes. And where does it play and how does it play? It all depends on who you are, where your organization sits, what your goals are. You speak about aim all the time. I couldn't agree more, because what is the aim of the organization, of the person, of the operators, of everything in one shot, and bringing it together so that we have the transparency of where we're going to go. There's just a level of education on so many different variables that are out there. It's astonishing, but it's a great opportunity for us to be able to develop that community.
Definitely. And the aim, right? Not only the aim of your company, but your personal aim, understanding your colleague's value. What is he or she stand for? Now, what are you standing for when we talk about asset management?
So we want to stand for operational excellence. And when you think about that, there's going to be a lot of sub-bullets that go into that. Operational excellence, getting the most out of your equipment, being able to get the most out of your people, having an environment that people are proud to come to, that enjoy coming to, their aim about their life, what drives them. Are they being brought in? Are they wanting to maybe not work as many hours as they are, but they're going to be good mentors? Getting that gray matter, so to speak, out of the experience out of somebody and giving it to some of the younger folks. Maybe that's where their aim is now. And maybe that's how it's been into it. So what drives me is seeing the different definitions that operational excellence takes from one organization to the next. And then within that organization, seeing the different types of people and how they define operational excellence. What we just need to do, though, is, as IFS does a great job, is paying attention to those customers where the rubber meets the road. If you aren't there to see it, you aren't there to witness it, you aren't there to walk in the shoes, you'll never understand what that means. And how can you create solutions, do implementations, do deployments, develop new technology, apply new innovation, and bring out new capability if you don't know that? So understanding operational excellence for me is both a challenge and a joy, because when I go out to see someone did something in a very different way I wasn't thinking of, that's awesome. It's a great creativity experience.
Love creativity. Tell us a little bit about what do you do in your spare time to put that genius and the creativity inside you?
So in my spare time, I tend to drive my family a little bit nutty. And what I mean by that is I don't necessarily enjoy completing anything. And it's not that I have 28 different projects at the house that are uncompleted, because I've gotten my age where I don't even want to start a project unless I know I can complete it. But as an example, I love doing puzzles, jigsaw puzzles, and I'll leave one piece on the table that's not put in just so I can see who in the house is actually going to complete it. Because completing the puzzle is the worst thing in the world for me. I like doing the puzzle and the process of going to the puzzle, and how do you separate your pieces? How do you separate the colors? And how do you separate out those other elements of connectivity and to bring them in together? I do that. I also like I rebuild cars for fun. I'm on my third MGB. I've done a couple of other things, and drives my family crazy too, because when I'm done, I got nothing else to do, so I get rid of it. And then I get another car in. It's worse than the one that I had before. And it's not again a matter of completing, it's a matter of the process, the journey that we go through. I play a lot of different instruments too, but it's just a way for me to work through my own life, my own stress, and it's also a way to bond, I think, because when you work through a process, I learned from my grandfather a long time ago, you start to learn people and who they are, what drives them, what doesn't, what gets on their nerves and what doesn't, by simply just doing tasks together and walking through life together.
Definitely, that's beautiful. Enjoying the journey and not only the destination. What has been now, one question that I have, what is the biggest puzzle that you have put together?
So we're thinking metaphorically or actually a puzzle?
Both.
So I put together a 5,000 piece puzzle over last Christmas. And my wife's passion is reading. So when she has free time, she'll go through book after book after book after book. So I usually turn on Netflix or Amazon or something like that in the background, or listen to, I like records. So I still have a record player. I like listening to old records, and I'll sit down and go through it. And I didn't sleep much, but I never really noticed that time passed. So I just ended up doing this puzzle as I was going through, and I got through it in a very short order. So it was about 5,000 pieces. It was a Monet, so it was a lot of similar colors and similar flowers. And my kids didn't want to touch it because there was too many and it was just too much. And once I got it on the kitchen table, and it was during the holiday for Christmas, I had to get rid of it because we had people coming, but I didn't want to get rid of it at the same time. So interestingly enough, a little bit later, my family, my wife and daughters bought me a puzzle preserving thing. So it's 4 foot by 4 foot and it spins on a lazy Susan, but there's drawers that are inside of it. And then there's a cover that goes on top of it. So when you're done with the puzzle and you need to take it off the kitchen table so that you can use the kitchen table, it can slide up under the couch really easy. So I have that now. And it's interesting, and it was a cool gift, but at the same time, it meant that I can put it away out of sight. So I'm constantly thinking about when I can go back to this puzzle. I'm not paying attention anymore. So I don't know if it solved it, but it was an interesting gift. We liked it.
That is beautiful story. Tell us about music, because music, you said I play a few instruments. Tell us about that.
So growing up in music all my life, my mother had us play piano and played some woodwind instruments and did some classical work for the longest time. And I just picked up guitar at an early age and played that for a long time. Played in a bunch of bands when I had long hair. But for me, it's another working through a problem. So if I have stress in my life, I'll literally go into a room, turn on a record player, and play with whatever's on there until I figure it out. Then once I figure out whatever's on that record on my guitar, then I'll be fine and walk away from it. But it's a way for me to be able to get through it. I've been in lots of stuff through my church and through other organizations and playing guitar, playing bass, playing drums, just got a mandolin a few years ago. I got ukulele about 2 years ago. But the idea is it's a way to be able to get out creativity and get out that energy, because you start thinking about it all the time. Another fact not many people know, but I'll share with you now.
The community.
is for my whole life, and maybe some of you do this too. If you do, I apologize. But I wake up every morning with a different song in my head, and sometimes it's a recording, like you can go find it on Apple Music or something. Sometimes it's not. So this morning, which I thought you would like, the song was Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
Love it.
Which I'm sure you love. It just fits you so much. I think that's the reason why. Is I saw your face and I was like, maybe that's where I got it from. So when I was walking to this particular location, I had my headphones in and was listening to it. I was like, I think the reason why that popped in was because of Maura. I'm pretty sure that was the reason why. But every day, for the longest time, my wife and my brother and I will send each other a text every now and again letting us know what we woke up with.
I love that.
It's strange.
No, I love it. I think we should get that. Thank you, Kevin. That's a good tip.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So now, a little bit of the community and asset management. We cannot let you go without talking digitalization.
You bet.
Where do you think we're heading with this digitalization piece on asset management?
So I think there's still two words that define that. One's digitalization, the other's digitization. And the reason why I do that is because a lot of schematics, a lot of equipment details, they're still analog. So you can't bring them into a digital world as easily right now, although you can with a lot of technology out there, but it's just not married as well as it should be. So when you try to understand about an equipment, you need to have the entire structure. You need to have that design. You need to have that 2D, 3D drawing. And there's solutions out there that are going to that. So I think we're moving now because of a lot of these tools are becoming more pervasive and more available to have that visualization component as part of the asset management experience. So I think we're getting to a better job with that. Digitalization, more is my definition of the term, is taking, as an example, an asset infrastructure, taking an asset component piece and then bringing it down to understanding its life, maybe a heartbeat in terms of a vibration or a rounds per minute that it goes, or hours that run, and understanding all those components that make that asset alive, just like we would do on our blood pressure or our beats per minute, or do other things that we want to understand about our bodies. Over time, we can see that I'm going to have hypertension, or I'm going to have some type of problem I need to go see a doctor for. The same thing about equipment. There's digitalization for asset management is there's a deluge, a huge pile of information about the assets that no one seems to know what to do with. And I've heard many times from many customers, just get the data, put it in the data lake, and we'll figure it out later. And while that's good and that makes sense, again, when is later? and when it's soon, and when it's a different time, and trying to understand that data about that asset, that metadata about that asset, to infer a new practice and to be able to make a change and be able to be brought in, I think is a lot of the opportunity. But the good news is, as we look at 2D, 3D visualizations, it's coming to bear. As we look at the different types of IoT components, they're coming to bear. And then now we have a challenge of what do we do with it all? So no longer a data problem, because the data is there. It's an information problem about what do we do with that data and how it makes sense of it.
Where do you see asset management 5 years from now?
5 years from now, well, I definitely see it become a lot more vertically available. So we used to say all the time, there's two circles, but one happens to be a donut, the other's a tire. And the manufacturing process, as an example, for those two are completely different. The requirements, the guidelines, the compliance, the legal entity is completely different. So people should not have to go to solutions and have to teach that discipline. They should inherit it. They should know it from communities like this. They should understand what reliability is for that tire or for that vehicle because of communities like this. So I think a lot of the data that's out there from communities and developing our practices will be more available to those particular customers to incorporate their daily life. That's why I'm excited about where Uptime Elements could go, is because you could use that as a forefront, not just of teaching people reliability, but incorporate it in your daily practice. So in 5 years, maybe less, maybe more, I think a lot of those concepts should be coming in a more vertical way of who I am and what I do and what my goals are and what drives my business. I also think the applications themselves and the way that they're implemented will be less monolithic. And what I mean by that is composable. So if I think about the monolithic applications, you have to install everything. That's going to take 3 years. And then once we get it set, once we get it installed, then maybe we can start doing work orders. And your return on investment is just horrible. Or we'll take it, we'll configure it, but it's still an installation you have to put in, and we still have to do changes to it as we build it in. You should have everything at your fingertips already, and just pick and choose, i.e. compose what you want to use and what you don't. And I think that the technology is there already for some folks that are in the market, but in 5 years, you should be able to do that. So I should be able to ultimately in 5 years, more or less, be able to say, I'm in the food and beverage industry. Here's the types of equipment that I want to be able to have. Here's the reliability means in that industry for those type of equipment. Here's the reports that I want to see. Here's the output that I want to see. And here's the tools I want to use, and just bring them all together and compose a solution for us to use. Whether it comes from one or many, it should be a democratized environment that we can use from. I think we're pretty close to doing that as a market in many ways, but we still have some work to go. But the biggest thing is to continue to drive the culture through education. And the more that we do that, the better off we're going to have to understand each other, be able to talk to each other, be able to commiserate with each other, be able to communicate with each other, and be able to develop out things that matter.
Thank you, Kevin. Very important to always remember communication is key. Communication is at the core. Call to action to the audience in anything you want to let them know, or asset management, digitalization, or a mix of everything.
Wow. Understand what asset management means to you. Understand what reliability means to you. Understand what sustainability means to you. Understand what your aim is and be able to apply it, be able to communicate it, be able to live it, be able to show it, put it on your arm. Don't be afraid about there. If you don't know something, say, I don't know. Share it with folks. I guarantee you won't be the only one. There's others that are out there that share your pain and share your joy and also share your opportunity. The more that you can be open, the more that you can be transparent, and the more that you understand what your truth is, the better off we're going to be.
Kevin, thank you so much for being here with us and part of the community as usual. Cannot wait to see all the different things that you're going to be creating.
There's going to be great stuff coming.
This is amazing, and it's so great because we are here and now. Asset Management Visionaries shaping tomorrow. I'll see you soon around.
Bye-bye.